Well, veteran cornerback Jalen Ramsey could be on the move. The Dolphins have reached a mutual agreement with the 7-time Pro Bowler to explore trade options. Ramsey spent the past 2 seasons in Miami after coming over in a trade with the Rams. For more on the situation, we welcome in the 2-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, it seems like the Dolphins are intent on trading the 3-time first-team All-Pro corner. So if you're playing matchmaker, what's the ideal landing spot for Ramsey?
Dirty Bird. I don't know if I'm doing it right, Falcon fans, but I'm trying. The Atlanta Falcons, I think that would be a match made in heaven for either side. It makes sense when it comes to Jalen Ramsey, already having a football relationship with the head coach, Raheem Morris. Remember, they were together in LA, had a lot of success defensively and, of course, as a team. And we know there's a mutual respect from either side, not to mention the admiration that they have for each other. And I think it makes sense. And then for Atlanta, you know, you have A.J. Terrell and you have a few others, but you don't have that legit high-level corner that could play opposite of A.J. Terrell. I know you have Mike Hughes. You gave him a nice contract, but he's more of that inside guy. If you can go get a guy like Jalen Ramsey to pair up Madeline with A.J. Terrell, now you're cooking with gas. So there could be quite a few of other teams that could utilize his services, but that's the first team I instantly thought of when I heard the Miami Dolphins were willing to entertain trading Jalen Ramsey.
Hey, listen, Jalen Ramsey and Atlanta, not mad at that one. That's a good look. I like the forecast there. Let's turn our attention to the Ravens, though. The lasting image of the Baltimore Ravens season was Mark Andrews dropping a game-tying 2-point conversion against the Bills. Now, on Tuesday, Baltimore GM Eric DeCosta was asked about Andrews' future with the team. Let's take a listen to this.
Do you fully expect, there's been a lot of speculation about Mark Andrews' future in Baltimore. Do you fully expect him to remain with the team, and is he a big part of what you plan on doing this year?
Oh, man. I never know what's going to happen, Jeff. And I would never want to say this or that, you know, but I can tell you this. Mark Andrews is a warrior, and he's played his butt off for us, and his competitiveness, his talent, his attitude, his leadership is so valued here. And he's a great player. And I think we're in the business of keeping as many great players as we can. So there's always a lot of unpredictability with the draft. You just never know.
Listen, a tough image to hang on, but as we heard DeCosta say, there's a lot of value in Mark Andrews on the final year of his deal, though. B-Mac, how should Baltimore proceed with Mark Andrews in your mind?
You know what? I really love Mark Andrews in a Baltimore Ravens uniform. But I could see a life where Baltimore would entertain maybe trading Mark Andrews or maybe releasing him, but more to the side of trading Mark Andrews. And here's why. When you look at Mark Andrews, he's still a high-level tight end. But in terms of the money, he's a more pricier option than the backup player in Isaiah Likely. And then when you look at Isaiah Likely and how he's developed within their system, this season, Madeline, Isaiah Likely saw a career high in targets, 58. He brought in a career high in receptions, 42. We saw a career high in receiving yards, just roughly under 500 yards, and of course a career high in receiving touchdowns. So when you look at the opportunities, when he received the opportunity, Isaiah Likely was likely to make a play. Now, if you look at Baltimore moving forward, maybe they see Isaiah Likely as a legit tight end 1 option as well. So there lies the opportunity to see exactly what you could get in return if you decided to trade Mark Andrews, because Isaiah Likely is ascending in the right direction, especially within their offense. And clearly Lamar Jackson trusts Isaiah Likely in terms of getting him targets, believing that he can come down with those big-time receptions like he did throughout the year, especially how he started the season, the first game against Kansas City, and then you look at this playoff run as well. He had a really, really good game against Buffalo in the playoffs.
All right, now listen, we are just over a week away from the NFL draft, and in an exclusive interview with CBS Sports, one of the top prospects in this draft, Travis Hunter, was quoted as saying he would never play football again if he weren't allowed to play both offense and defense. So B-Mac, we know how much Travis Hunter likes playing both sides of the ball, but what are your reaction to these comments?
I take them with a grain of salt, because he will be playing both sides of the football field when he is in the NFL. So Travis Hunter fans, do not be concerned. Don't be worried. He will play both sides, and he should be. Now, to what level, we have to wait and see. But an organization, whatever team drafts Travis Hunter in the top 3, top 4, they will be fools if they wouldn't allow him to play either side of the football field. He's a gifted athlete. He's well-conditioned. He studies the right way, and he wants to do it, and he can improve your team in areas that other players can't. So when you do draft Travis Hunter, Madeline, you're drafting 2 players in 1. So I do believe, and from what I'm hearing, I don't think there's an organization that would not allow him to play both sides. It seems like that is the consensus. So with these statements, I see them, but I really don't see them because he will be playing both sides of the football field, and he should.
Yeah. Now, one of those teams in that top 3, top 4 you mentioned that would be taking him, New York Football Giants. But we know the Giants need to draft a quarterback, B-Mac, at some point in this draft. They're doing their homework. In the final week before the draft, they've got workouts scheduled with Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and Tyler Shuck. Now, I got to point out, as somebody who works closely with the Giants, I saw all the noise on the internet today saying, well, this is a last-ditch Hail Mary. We got to remember, Shedeur Sanders had his pro day 10 days ago. You know, this is scheduling-wise and all that kind of stuff. But you know, they clearly are doing the work on the quarterback. They worked out Jackson Dart. They got Kyle McCord in the building today. B-Mac, do you think the Giants take a quarterback at 3? You got Ward expected to go 1. If Sanders is there and maybe one of Hunter and Abdul Carter are there at 3, what direction do you go if you're the Giants?
Wow, great question, Madeline. I'm back and forth. With this. I think the New York Football Giants will draft a non-quarterback at 3. And the reason why I say that, Madeline, is because if you Brian Daboll, the player you draft at 3, you want him to have an immediate impact. You want him to be able to help your team right now. You don't want to have to go through a process of waiting and developing, right? And sometimes that's the case with rookie quarterbacks. We saw that with Drake May being drafted high for the New England Patriots. He wasn't their day 1 starter, but eventually he became their day 1 starter. For Brian Daboll, you need to be able to get a guy in that can help keep your job together, your job security there. So I think they draft a non-quarterback at 3, and I think they take a quarterback high in the 2nd round, or maybe trade back into the late 1st round to go get a quarterback. So I do see them taking a quarterback in the first 2 rounds, but I don't expect to see them take a quarterback in round 1 because, if you're Brian Daboll, Madeline, and knowing your seat is kind of hot right now, would you entertain drafting a player that potentially won't be able to help you until November? Or would you be more inclined to draft a player that once we draft him, he's in the starting lineup, he's ready to go? I think it's more of the latter. What do you think?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, especially with the signing of Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson in this offseason. The pressure is not quite on as it was maybe a month or so ago to get a quarterback at 3. But hey, we're just over a week away from the NFL draft. We'll see how it all plays out in Green Bay next week. B-Mac, thanks so much for the insight. Now here's a look at the odds to be the number 3 overall pick. We got Penn State defensive tackle Abdul Carter, the heavy favorite right now at -250. Then Travis Hunter, he's got the 2nd best odds, and he's followed by his former teammate Shedeur Sanders at +460.